Hey,
We're live.
guess what, Dave? We're live.
We're live.
We're
We've been,
live now.
we've been sitting here talking for 15 minutes. Oh man.
Oops.
Ooh, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
There we go. Now stuff's looking like it's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, how the hell did Rich get in here? That's so weird.
I don't
I
know
mean,
how.
I'm glad you're here, Rich. I mean, but oh, maybe he just commented on it. I wonder if he commented and it just
But how do you do that? We're
I
live.
I don't know. You know, it's kind of goofy too. It's kind of a bummer sometimes. Is that I noticed when you go off alive, it'd be nice if it buffered for just a little bit where people could still comment.
Uh huh.
Because I noticed obviously it's got a render on your end, but it'll just poof, it's gone. You know, so it's like you can't even like say something to somebody else, say, hey, have a nice night or whatever. You know, it's just you're done. So it never fails. I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. He says he's here. We thought you were. We thought we were live because
Yeah,
you
we jacked it up, you know. Bunch of garage door guys trying to be computer guys. We don't know
were.
nothing. So what's another way to cheat on those drums? Like, because I was thinking about it earlier. I thought because when you jumped off, and I thought, well, can't you like dump one spring and just back one and put like cable or put vice grips? And
Yeah. And normally, well, what I normally do is I take the winding end of a cone, the
yeah,
cone, winding cone, and I just put that on there. Put a wind.
gotcha.
It was sitting at the shop. I didn't have one with me, so I thought, I'll stick the bar up in there. Done it time again,
Ah,
but this door was a little hot. They had too much in it, and yeah, that
what
big mistake.
what fell? I seen the bar fall. So was that your what
Oh
was it?
yeah, I put a winding bar into the spring of
Oh,
the
oh, oh, oh,
pocket off, and then
gotcha.
just for a backup.
Oh,
And I
gotcha.
I went and put a box. He had a cardboard box, so I put a cardboard box underneath it so it wouldn't fall and hit his floor and
Oh, sure.
go wherever.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was the theory of putting the box down there. Because once I once I started on that, you know,
Yeah.
it was gonna release that and the bar was gonna fall. And sure enough, the bar fell and I kept going with it and it went,
Whoosh.
oh, oh,
That's the worst sound. Did you have a drum on the truck or on the van?
oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
well you have to well, you're supposed to change both of them if they're different companies,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like you're supposed to pair them. So yeah, I had two, so I changed them both. But then, like I said, they killed the shaft. I had to get the grinder out. I mean, just every time I move it, it stuck into the spring, and then I was like, oh, and I worked out in the shop all day, and
Oh.
my hammer was in the shop, so I had no hammer.
Oh.
I was like, oh,
Isn't that the worst?
uh huh. I was so
I tell myself all the time, I'm like, I take something out of my tool bag and I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm like, it's just for a second. I'll bring it right back. And then I go out to a job. I'm like,
uh huh,
where's my hammer? You know,
uh
I'm
huh.
just at that job I was just working on. I didn't have a speed square, and luckily the other guy had one. But I'm just I'm like, where's my speed square? And I'm like, oh crap! I was doing some uh, carpentry stuff, and I was thinking, I'll be darned. I thought you got another one out in your other garage, you lazy ass. Go get it. You know,
Yeah.
but it was right there. You know,
Oh yeah. I know. I had to back. I know. I know. I was like, did you grab your impact? Yep, you got the impact. And as soon as I got there and needed my hammer, I'm like,
yeah,
oh, the
yeah,
floor by the wall
yeah.
that you just built.
Yeah, that's why I remember years ago too. I was here at the shop, and my service truck was parked out, and I had my uncle here doing stuff or whatever. I forget what they were fixing or doing, but he was like, they were grabbing tools off my truck, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, your sawzall was just sitting right there," and I was like, I didn't come unglued, but I was like, dude, I was like, you can't touch my truck. I'm
Yeah.
like, because you could be around the side of the building. I think my truck's ready to go. I'm gonna jump in it. And at the time, I was traveling a lot of different. I was going. way up to Ludington, which is all an hour to an hour and 15 minutes one way. And I'm like, and I will have that freak out where I'm sitting there going, where did I leave my saw? Because I do it all the time.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, that's all I need when I come back and it's sitting on my, my table or something in the office. And it's like, that's that phone call. It's going to be like, did you? Oh, yeah, I just used it for a second, but you already left. And it's like, don't touch my truck.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I need all my stuff there.
I hear you. I have three different vehicles, and I
Oh,
bought, I bought tools for every one of them just because,
oh
like
yeah.
like you hopping in that truck and loading it all up. I would hate doing it all the time. That'd drive me nuts.
Oh, it's a newfound challenge. I can definitely relate with a lot of the guys that are doing it on the side or like I could see even like Mr. Evan,
Yeah.
cousin Evan. It's I tell you what, it's a double-edged sword though, because on one hand I go, boy, I can see I'd want to as quickly as possible get me a service van, but on the other hand, it's going to be another vehicle to maintain, another oil change, another brakes, another car to insure. So it's kind of it's yeah, and I mean,
And you're
I,
constantly working on them. When you
yeah.
get more than one, you're constantly.
Well, you got to, especially when you got older vehicles. I mean, I've done it even when I was a young lad just working somewhere. I mean,
Mhm.
you just always had to have a backup vehicle,
Yep.
and because one car's got to go in and the transmission's got to get fixed or whatever. And hey, at least you got your backup vehicle. So even if you just let it sit there and if it's paid off, so you don't put insurance or anything on it, um, you got to do what you got to do. But it's definitely it's tough. It is tough, but I'm starting to think about it a little bit more. Now, I don't know if this is true. I know I was talking to Caleb about it a little bit, and even cousin Evan was mentioning it, but he was saying something about using U-Haul. And Caleb said something about you have to he goes, I think you have to be 21. And I said, I don't know about that. He says, I know he says on other rentals you do. And I said, well, I don't know about U-Haul. And he goes, yeah, I don't know either. And I said, but he's right around the corner and he's 20. So I mean, I told him, I said, it's gonna be a, hop, skip, and a beat. You're gonna be right there.
Yeah.
So no big deal.
Yeah.
So
I would think you have to be 21, but
but what's nice is that, like I said, if you factor that into a job, depending on whatever you're doing, and I'd leave a little buffer in there because obviously you think it's going to be a day, it might be 2 days for whatever you're doing. Um, it's nice to have that resource if it's somewhat close.
right.
So there's more than one way to cook an egg, and so I just kind of like that. I like what have you heard any of what Rich does? Rich B.
Uh-uh.
It sounds like he tears out a door prior. I think an hour. Rich can always jump in and comment, but he tears it out. And then the company that he uses will bring the door. The guy will help him bring it in. He gives him maybe a little slice of cheese or something, and they'll stack it. And then I think he cuts the door up. Either he's got a scrapper that'll come get it, or he'll take it maybe a
Mm.
little bit of it, or the customer takes care of it. And if it's a wood door, he'll chop it up too, so the customer can dispose of it. But I'm like, that's not a bad idea. Like that's really thinking. You gotta make sure you're on top of your game. But
Right. I
that's
would hit.
pretty cool.
Yeah. See, I'd stress. I'd be stressing if I didn't have that door on my truck.
Oh.
Whew. And
Well,
I
I think
out.
for one, he's not using like if it was like Lowe's, I'd be a little nervous. But I think it's a good company that he uses.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
you can always maybe you can put it in the comments. Rich, put it in the comments if you don't mind. If you don't, I know he might not. He might have competition or whatever too, so he might not want to share. But um, I've always thought about that. Like when I was doing subs, um, I was thinking because I have guys that work for me, and then they would drift off or whatever, and then I knew they did good door work, so I'd contact them on stuff, and I was getting overloaded, and they'd be like, Dave, man, I don't have a truck anymore, and I'm like, not a problem. I need this. I
Mm-hmm.
need. They're like, well, I got hand tools and stuff. I'm like, perfect. I'm like, the door will be there. You just let me know when I'll schedule it for them normally on a weekend or something, and then I'd say you just leave the door. But I did have one kick me in the nuts. Um, I don't know where the disconnect was, but I told him, I said, it's like sometimes certain people are not people, 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 and it was on a weekend, and of course, it was just at that time when I had to go to an event with my kids. It was wintertime, but the lady calls me and's like, "Is somebody going to take care of this door?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, he left it in the middle of my garage, and I like to park in my garage." And I'm like, "What the?" Like I told him to ask her where she wants it, and I'll come get it Monday. So I would assume that if she would have said, "Well, I want to park, put it outside," so I had to run on that Saturday or whatever it was, grab the trailer, run over there, had to grab my stepdad, load the garbage up, and I'm like, this was supposed to happen on Monday, man. It's like, what the hell happened here? So
Yeah.
that is sometimes, so you got to really make sure you stay on top of the communication.
Yeah, that's the key right there. Communication.
So that's why, I think you could do it. Especially if you got a decent door vendor, you could, and if they're going to be there at a certain time, they're good on their word. But it saves a lot of, you know, storage and all that kind of stuff, because I mean, for us, you think about how many times when I read that little chart that one time, I thought, we got to wait for a truck to show up here. We got to unload the truck, go sits in our shop, which we got stuff right now that it'd be nice if it was sitting in the vendors and they would deliver some of this stuff. It's just kind of a pain. So I just like to let people know because there's options out there.
Hmm.
So
Well,
you
like
just you just got to
Tues
be thinking.
Tuesday, I'm doing one, and they want it right away, and I'm gonna run over to Menards, grab the door, and I've got the bearing plates, the shaft, center bracket, springs. So I'll just
Yeah,
buy me a. It's gonna be a pan door, so I'll just buy me an extension spring.
sure, sure.
I use Menards as my wear.
Yeah, I always Menards could always get them cheaper, right? So that was always my thing when I was always telling, people come in the office, I tell them price and they go, "Ah, Menards is $100 cheaper." And I'm like, "You know what? And they are." And I said, "You got to understand." I said, "I'm going to install it." Or I said, "If you have it installed or you do it or whatever," I said, "If I got to come out there at the time, it was $85." I said, "It's an $85 service call. So are you really saving?" I said, "There's no warranty." They kind of, "Oh, yeah, maybe, And I said, "Their hardware is not as good." But
Right.
what I always wanted to do was to kind of, because I did do this on a job a year ago where I tried to upgrade her and I told her, I said, "This is what I would do if it was my door." And it was funny to see that the price actually went up to what our prices would be. But I still was like, I always thought, how could you make Menards doors better and still capitalize or use them in your arsenal? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know, you kind of either got to do what you're doing, either got the parts and you convert it in a sense,
Hmm.
but that's kind of hard to do with the customer. You know what I mean? Because like they obviously owe you more money in a sense, and they don't understand that. They're like, "Well, did the door come with springs?" You're like, "Well, yeah, it came with extension springs, and I upgraded you to a torsion spring." And so it's always a weird balance, you know what I mean? But I almost like the customers dealing because I did it for the builder the one time. He did Horman, and it was kind of nice. I felt refreshed. I showed up. I'm like, the door's already here. I didn't even touch it. I'm like, sweet, it's already in the garage. Awesome. There's a little bit of siding and stuff in there, but all right, doors in here. Sweet. Openers right there. Cool. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about like this is money out of the company's pocket. You know what I mean? I installed the door, found a dent in it, and I remember I called him. I said, "Hey, just to let you know," I said, "There's a dent," and oh, he goes, "Everyone has one in it." And I'm like, "Oh, perfect." You know what I mean? Like, not my problem. So I just want to let you know because it wasn't me, and that was a new install, so I got kind of spoiled. So I didn't have, I just had cardboard and stuff like that. But it was like the door was shut on the van, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty easy. I kind of like this. It's just
Right.
I'm out
Right.
labor. So if he stiffs me, I'm not sitting there going, that mother's got my 1,200 or 2,000 door, on his house or whatever.
Right. Speaking of labor, I think I text you on a labor deal. I had a old customer of mine.
Uh,
Ever never met face to face with this gentleman. It was he I was over at the remember the gate? I got a hold of you about the gate.
oh, that's right.
Right.
You messaged me.
Oh,
I don't think I messaged you back.
yeah, no you didn't. I was
Sorry.
waiting.
Sorry. I read it. I was out in the field, I
It
think.
was a long one. It was a
So I
long.
read it and I was like, I don't know what he's asking. And so I just kind of went poof.
Well, um this guy, I was there at that job and the another gentleman, he hit me up. They build homes and then they have remodels and I've went to I mean it's commercial to whatever and it's as easy as photo cells, but he wanted me to give him a price on 44. They're going to build 44 homes
Mm,
and all he wants is labor. They're going to be a door dealer because they're going to be doing this every year.
uh,
But they're going to get hooked up. They just need an installer and
sure.
labor price. And
Hmm. Hmm.
and I said, well, the thing is, you're going to be here, you're going to be over there. I said, when I'm traveling farther, I said prices are changing. Oh,
Yeah.
he understood that. So,
Sure.
like, what would you go on like just a 18 by 8 install?
Gosh, I don't know. I guess it all depends. I mean, I feel like my brain first goes to I kind of feel like it's like that remember American Pickers, you know what I mean? And you never make the first offer, where it's like so I almost my brain and like, well, tell me what you pay now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And he obviously he could lie, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But if he told you a number, he's like, well, the guy is doing it now is $100. You go, hell no. You
yeah,
just go, we're totally different. You
yeah,
know what I mean? That's just how I feel about these. It's kind of like, well, what are you paying now? This ain't his first one, I assume. So it's just, well, what do you pay now? And then, um, like in my brain, it'd be great to see if anybody, Rich is the guy who has to say comments.
Rich,
He's got, the
five,
500, 650.
yeah,
But I guess in my brain, so like I've heard guys talk about it. I never practice it, but I remember seeing another garage door company and they were working for a builder and they're like, they're like come up to me, what's your square foot? And I'm like, what's my square foot? Like, what the hell?
yeah,
Well, what's your price for a square foot? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just charge, two, three, $400 per whatever the door. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't charge square foot.
yeah.
And so I feel like that would be part of the equation, and then part of me would be is like, what could we figure out that if we said we put a pin on his location, if that's the way you want, or if he's close enough, we said, or or yours, I guess. But if we put a pin on his, it'd be easier, and say anything you travel, I'll do 20 miles in your radius, but anything out is going to be $1 or whatever you want, per mile outside of that. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the way my brain thinks a little bit. Because I don't know, builders just don't get me
Oh,
too
I know.
excited.
I've never been excited. I used to side for them, and that was like shit work.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That
You know,
was
and
you'd do a
it,
3-story home, and you'd make more on a ranch if you got.
uh, yep, yep. So that's what I mean is like when I was real young, I mean, we had a builder around town that was super huge, and I mean, I was dying, chomping to like, oh, if we could just get in with them, my problems will all be solved. You know what I mean? We'll make so much money, but in reality, they're looking for the cheapest of
Hmm.
the cheap. And even that builder, I did that door for. He actually hired two of my ex-employees. And he was like telling me, he's like, I used to use your one guy, Mr. B. I won't say his name, but and I'm like, oh yeah, like, well, I know why you're not using him anymore because I heard that he ended up socking his wife in the face and he went to prison. And so I'm just like, so that must be why I'm here. And he never used like I said, I don't know if he's a chiseler. Like I remember when I did it, that was a job I talked about where I left the remotes on the manual. He called me up a couple of days later and he's like, "Where's the second remote?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, "I left it with the manual." And I'm thinking I should have took pictures and sent it to him. And I'm like, so I don't know if he was like, he just acted a little bit agitated, like he's like, "So where's the second one?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't pinch it." You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I don't know. Like if you need another one, your buddies with the lumber yard that you're buying the stuff from, get one from them and reprogram it, or I'll come out there and do when I'm out in that area. And so I've done numerous of things over the years, spotty stuff for him. As far as I'm concerned, it's like if I never hear from him again because he's just too fluctuating. It's never it's like you know give me the work, let's do an honest pay. And it just sometimes we get into stuff that's like, how the hell did we get here? Like I'm just, and you know how those construction guys are sometimes, the garage is full of siding, it's full of man doors. You're like, what the, told me it's ready. Well, he's trying to get a draw from the bank. That's what he's trying to do. So if he gets the door up, it makes it look like one more thing's done, because that's the only reason I can think my buddy that passed away, he was working for that big builder, and he was like, we talked, we're sitting around his shop one day. I said, man, I always wanted to work for that guy. And he goes, oh, no, you don't. He goes, we were putting doors in with no backfill. He says, we had extension ladders to stack it. I'm like, how did you do that? He's like, we put bolts in the bottom of the track. And he's like, we'd stack them. I'm like, with no backfill? He's like, hell no. He's like, it was like a basement we're in. And I'm like, oh hell, I'm like, no way, dude. you know, so that's the type of people. It's just
Yeah.
like now all I could think of is I never found out the real answer, but I'm assuming because now that I'm older, he's trying to get a draw from the bank. Look, the windows are in, the garage door's in, the roof's up. You know, they're always trying to what is it, steal from Peter to pay Paul type of thing.
Right.
So those are tough ones. But if it works, you know, you could do us per square foot. And I don't know if you're as picky. Some people see. I've had the secretary. I've had my old business partner even, and I agree. I mean, there is a little more weight to them and stuff like that. But to me, it was always like a garage door is kind of a garage door. I don't care if it's insulated or non-insulated. It's kind of the same amount of labor, except for a little bit more lifting.
Mhm.
Um, or if you need a helper, that changes. But to me, it was like I got to pull out the gun, I got to put hinges on. It all kind of works the same. So I mean, you could adjust a little bit, but I was never a big like. So to me, it's like, and for being a builder, I'm sure they're not. I can't say that. It depends on what kind of builder. If they're doing those real elaborate doors, we're talking doors that are like 3 inches thick, or those big 4 section panels with huge windows. Yeah, that all. What I mean? That's all different, man.
Yeah.
Because that stuff you got
Yeah.
to get panels all lined up. You got to get the stickers in the back line. That's more
Oh, I know. Yeah. I've been there.
that's that's more custom. You got to be on it. You got to go outside and look. Oh, we got to put handles in the outside hall. Crap, man, that's an hour right there of just
Yeah.
screwing around and
Yeah.
measuring. Do you get the laser out? How perfect do we get it? And then you got to find out where do they want them. That's
Yeah.
always sucks. I was always have to. That's why I always brought magnet ones, and I'd stick them to the door, and I'd tell a customer, I'd be like, I'd do it. I'd do it before they came out. So I put it where I would normally put it. And have them come out. I want you to check out these handles. And they look at it. Oh yeah, that looks really nice. Okay, that's where I'm going to mount them. Oh, you haven't mounted them yet? Those aren't the ones. Nope, nope. I said these are just magnet ones. Oh, well, we can. And I'm like, no, I did the magnet ones at an old house I had. And damn kids always play with them, and they're always crooked. And yeah, so
Mm.
I no, no, yours are gonna be screwed on. What's we got here for some comments? Rich B's guy says, what's the guy? I think you need to be 21, but those U-Haul pickups can haul some weight. Yes, they can. I just used one. The big 650 with a 7.3 Godzilla. I think it was a beast, man. That sounded nice.
No problem with his delivery.
No problem. Oh, with my deliveries. Yeah, I think he's got a good vendor.
Yeah. Then price, he was saying 5 to 600. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking six. My wife says Go in at 725. You could always come down.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
I
like when
like I
I
said,
do,
I'd probably ask them. You know, like I just nowadays I just I don't know. I look at things so much more now that I just go, I don't really, I don't really give a crap if I lose it.
yeah,
Um, like when I was doing, like I think about when this the Brunswick company that does the bowling pins and all that. We had a job there one time, and they wanted me to run wires, and we're going to hook this up and wall buttons. And I'm like, I just told him, I said, dude, I said, like, I have no clue. I mean, that's my gut instinct. So I just initially just snapped it out, and I said, I have no clue how long this is going to take. I said, I can do time and material, but I can't bid this. I said, my bid's going to be astronomical. I said, it's basically going to be not to exceed. And he's like, yeah, he goes, let's do that. He goes, that's fair for everybody. Actually, I found out we save money. And I'm like, all right, then let's just do that. So now ever since that, it always kind of sets with me where I just kind of go, like, I'd rather know, if he's like, oh, we got a guy that does it for 325, I just didn't know if he could be, you know, if he
yeah,
could beat that or something. That's the only thing where, like when I did the mall job, that was great because the guy's like, well, I got to get three bids, and he goes, you're my third one. And I said, oh, so what does the other guys bid? And he's telling me the numbers, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that seems, well, I found out, they were at like whatever it was. I think they were at like 40 or something like that, 45, and my door is only like $7,000. I'm like, whoa, I'm like, there's a big gap here. So I'm like trying to figure out, I had to do some drywall, some other stuff. I still had a huge profit margin there, and I'm like, now I know the number. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna come in at like 38. And I did. I got the job. It was a lot of stress, but we made good profit. And I at the time it was for the mall doing big roll up curtain, and I thought, I only need to do like 4 or 6 of these a year, and I make the same amount of profit, and without touching all these little residential and stuff. And I thought, I'm just going to do that. We're going to travel with a crew and just go to a few local malls, and it never happened. But that was my mindset.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, what's rich guy? You saying paid on? Oh yeah, paid on completion. That's right. So that's another thing too, right, Tony? For
yeah.
you with a builder, and somebody was either on my video or there's something they were telling me. They were saying how they were, they somebody, I think it was on the video on a live, and they were talking about how the builder hasn't paid them yet for the last job. They're getting kind of nervous. So yeah, that always kind of sucks to have to chase.
Yeah,
But like I said, at least you're not out the material.
right.
So that's kind of nice, you know. And that's hoping that depending on who they are, I don't know, those builders, like it's kind of like the one, it just I don't, sometimes it's like, man, what a bummer to go somewhere, right? And they're missing the hardware box, or they're missing the perimeter seal, or you know what I mean, kind of out of your control a little bit.
Hmm.
That's kind of because we're. I mean, what do you think roughly in your head? What do you think they're going to be for distance wise? I mean, for you, like where what do you think you're going to help
Well,
you
they
traveling?
can, like he said. See what I think. I sat down in a meeting with them. I think they're these little neighborhoods. Like we have one here in Fort Wayne. It's a bunch. Like they put 40 homes in,
Uh,
let's just say like 5 acres, and
okay,
they set them every which way, and they're in this little community. I think that's what it is, but they're going to be all the surrounding areas here, Decayed,
mhm,
Bluffton. So you're talking every bit of a half hour, 40 minutes, up to can be an hour. You know,
sure.
he said Lagrange, that's a couple hours.
Ooh, right, right,
I said, well, if we're going that far, you better have some doors.
right, right,
Cause new construction, you can do that in an hour and a half.
right, right. That's obviously if they build the frames right.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's always a big one that I ran into. It seems like I don't know. I never did enough, but I have some that were just phenomenal. I mean, they'd pack them out, and then it's like you got the other ones that were like, they don't want to spend a nickel on one more 2x4. You know what I mean? And then it's like you go
Mhm.
there and you're like, dude, this needs to be framed out. Well, I mean, can't you like shim it? Blah, blah, no,
Yeah.
no, that ain't me,
Yeah.
Um, so that's, and then like, what do you do? Because either, I've had them before too, right? They're like, well, if I run and go get some 2x4s, can you put it up? And you're like, oh shit, I mean, I'm here. I mean, I had the day planned, so I, yeah, I guess, we can throw them up. If you got, I get the screws. All right. So, you're piecing it back and doing all this weird stuff. It's just, I had one guy, we called him, I think his name was Michael. That's what his name was, Michael. I remember him now. And we used to call, so us garage door companies actually ganged up. So we would call each other and say, Michael's on the run. That was our code for that. Michael's going around. And because he did it to me one time, he called and he's like, oh, he's like, your competition, they said they do it for this. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, well, I could do it for that. I'll do it for $50 or $100. Like, yeah. And then he come back like 2 hours later. Hey, I called the other guys, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, I fed into it. And then I remember we go to this, we were putting in like a 12 by 12 or something. And I remember we go to this mansion, right? Just a huge mansion on the river, right? Just, I mean, holy cow, man. I mean, just a multi-million-dollar place. And I get there, jam's not right, and I call him up. I'm like, dude, I'm like, there's, the jams are not even close to being ready. Like, and he's like, oh, he's like, if I go get wood for you. And I'm like, I guess, so I remember that was a job I got roped into. I actually bought my first framing nailer. I bought the Boss Stitch one that had the gas cylinders that went in. And I think it worked good for that job. And then it was crap ever since then. And that thing was so unreliable. But, I mean, I dropped $300 because now I'm a framer and I needed speed. You know what I mean? Because, I wanted to whip these up, get those doors up. And, so things just like that. And then, I did like one or two. I think I did two. And then after the third one, I caught on. And I was just like, he'd do the thing, hey, well, I got, and I said, good. I said, then I'd probably use them. I said, because, and like I said, we all started knowing, we were calling each other and we're like, hey, just lock it down. You know what I mean? You do whatever you're going to do. We'll do whatever we're going to do. Like, we're not playing these stupid games. So if he calls you, whatever, man, let the best man win, but I'm not playing these games. I'm with you. We were all like that. So he just, you know, we're done. So he kind of caught on. I think we did a few more, but he was just a jokester. I found out his true character because I was selling a little enclosed trailer, a little 10 by something, and this guy called me up. I didn't know who it was. And it was at the shop here, and yeah, I seen your little enclosed trailer. Want to come? Okay, okay. I meet him there. Right. As soon as the guy pulled in, as soon as I seen his face, I went, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "Oh, I know who this guy is." And so I remember I don't remember why I took the sign. I like whipped the sign because I didn't want him to have my phone number anymore or something. I forget. And he's sitting there, yeah, yeah, hey, blah blah blah. We're gonna take it down because there's a big hurricane or something, and I rent them out. I make millions. Okay, yeah, okay. And anyways, he buys it. Well, he starts handing out the money, and it was like 1,200 bucks or something. Whatever. He goes, oh man, he goes, 20 bucks short. He goes, is that going to be a problem? My wife must have counted it out wrong. And I'm like, no, that's fine. And now you already talked me down. I know a little bit on the price or the phone or whatever, but he's 20 bucks short. Whatever. It's just an honest mistake, probably. It just happens, right? All cash. Find out I was talking to another car dealership about this. I said, yeah, it's one guy, and he's like kind of doing like this. Who's this guy? And I said, well, his name's this Mike, blah, blah, Michael, or whatever. And he's like, that guy dealt with my son. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, he bought a propane tank from us. And he goes, he was like 300 bucks short. And so he goes, and I'm like, I know what this guy's doing. Every time he's right there with you, he says, he's jipping you money. And I told my brother-in-law about it one time. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, well, think of all the money he's saving, Dave. He goes here, 20 bucks. Here's 300 bucks. Here another 100 bucks. He goes, you know, he's saving. Yeah. I said, well, I'm done. I said, I'll never ever deal with that guy ever again. So yeah. Let's see what the old comments. Do, do, do. What is that? Is that customer? Oh, that custom work. That's
That's
a
where,
different animal.
yeah, sure is.
What's some of the ones you've done, Tony? That's kind of been a bear, would you say?
A bear. Usually the bear ones are like those old 1800 homes.
Uh,
Yeah, they're just never, not they were they always had a slider door in it before.
oh yeah, yep, yep.
I run into stuff like that. Customers are usually pretty good. Um, I've only had probably one customer that, he was a garage door guy back in his day.
Oh, oh,
Me and him went round and round. I told him to go F himself as I was leaving. He'll pay twice as much. See, that's about the worst.
I know how those go. My grandpa had me go up to his place one time, and him and my one uncle, they get in their pair. You know, they sit there in a golf cart. And I remember I brought my business partner out because he's all of an hour and 15 minutes away, and you know how it is. I'm already doing this out of the goodness of my heart. I mean, I don't even think I charge him. If I did, I charged him like for the springs for like $20 or something.
Hmm.
And I got to bring like a whole service vehicle, whatever, up there. And I remember we start working on them, and I remember they were sitting in the golf cart in the garage, and they start, And I remember my business partner, he's kind of like looks at me, and he's like, do these SOBs want to do it themselves? It sounds like they know more than us, And I'm like, hey guys, I'm like, we got this, you know what I mean? Like, like I know you guys have, your whole life have, but if you want our service, you got to let us have a little freedom here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind if you call us out the door's crooked or something or whatever's going on afterwards, but like, let us do our job. This isn't our first rodeo. I mean, we've already been, 5 or 6 years in business, so we kind of know what we're doing here, and so yeah, it's just, but I know you get somebody that sits over your shoulder, man. It's a, you know I think the worst one I remember, I came off my top almost one time. We were doing one for Lowe's. I went and detailed the job. The jam was off, right? I had like that chunk of wood where I knew we were going to have to either, bring it out. There was no, it was like a brick building with wood attached. So it's like we needed the wood to make our seal, but I just couldn't I knew we were going to need it to make them adjustable. And for whatever reason, what they were sending us was going to be riveted. And so I told them it was going to be $100 extra custom work, and it was 2 doors, and they're kind of bigger doors, like 10 by 10s or something. We get up there, and guy sat there the whole time in a chair, and even the guy I was working with, he used to listen to what is it called, uh, retro music. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Just like music, you'd be like in a club, just kind of no,
oh
no,
yeah,
nobody talking, right? And it always even kind of bugged me, you know what I mean? But I could just, I always, music, I can get along with pretty much most of it. So anyway, I told him, I was like, hey man, I was like, turn your boombox on, turn that music up a little bit. Maybe that'll kind of, weed them
yeah.
out. So he did. No, that guy just sat there the whole time, just watching and watching and watching. And we get done. It's dark time. It was all the way up in like Traverse City or something. So it's all of an hour, half, 2 hours away. And we are so burned out, tired and stuff. Well, anyways, we come back and stuff. And the guy has a nerve. I remember we sent the bill in, and he lets Lowe's know. He goes, they didn't do no custom work. And I'm like, the hell we didn't do no custom work, the drilling out the rivets to, putting in the track to make it adjustable. Like, oh, we did custom work, like, you know, I was, I was
Uh,
not happy that I thought that guy was watching us. He's literally watched us put them, like, drilling out. This ain't normal. I even kind of mentioned, I said, oh, so I got drillies out. I said, that's, we got to customize it, and that guy had nerve, I didn't do no custom work. That son of a biscuit. Let's see here. He says, don't let the builder do the old carrot and stick trick. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. The builders, like I said, they are a little bit on the funky side. That is for sure.
yeah.
What's Steve got? Steven's got. He said, any of those quality of 40 jobs soon to magically turn into a quantity of 5 to 10 a lot of
Uh,
time. Yep. I was watching something not too long ago. I seen Tanner jumped in. Um, where it said like, well, give me a deal on this one, and I'll, The
Yeah.
next one, then that I would agree, that never seems to work out, you know what I mean? Like, it's gotta be a fair, it's just gotta be a fair price, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know what it is. Maybe people just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just they feed on the young, or they feed off with the ones, some of the ones that do it like just off the side, maybe. Um,
Well, I ain't doing nothing.
what'd you say? You're not doing nothing?
I know I'm not doing it for nothing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly,
I'm
exactly.
gonna make my money. Like when I do it for like the restoration companies, I think it's like $700 a door. They have a door there. I just throw it in.
Right. So the restoration company actually provides the door too.
Yeah, a lot of time, not all the time, but
Right, right.
yeah, like there'll be one there.
Huh.
Hmm.
That's weird. Then I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm trying to, like, we don't really target any builders. I think the thing is, like, they probably won't, is my guess. Like, where I go with like a homeowner, I feel like there's a little bit of time in there. So I mean, yes, you got to do a tear out, so that sucks, and you got to deal with the debris. But I think what scares me about the new construction is, I want pictures. You know what I mean? Like, and then I go, pictures might still not be enough, because I go, whenever they drop the material off, who's to say it's all there? Because at least some of the builders, I'm thinking of the big builders that we do stuff for, the commercial red steel. They always got kind of the snot nosed kids that are the laborers, and you know what I mean. Like, they don't know what they're even touching. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it kind of like that makes me nervous. Where, in my head I go, I'd like to go through a checklist, but you know, I understand both sides. I understand that the builder's not like, well, I'm not here to babysit you. You know what I mean? I got to deal with the roofer and the window guy and the HVAC, and like, if you just can't show up and do it, I got to find somebody else. But it's like, yeah, but I can't like drive there, 30, 45 minutes, and it to be like, I scheduled today for you, and now that screws up my whole schedule. You know what I mean? So now, I'm all over the place. So, because then what do you do? Do you, like, turn into their personal, where they're like, well, it must still be at the vendor. Could you run there? And you're like, uh, you know, or are they going to have somebody that runs there for you? Gets tricky, man. It gets tricky. It
Yeah.
gets tricky. I mean, I'm honestly thinking about it right now in the business. I've been thinking about, um, these bigger jobs. Like, I'm gonna start doing. We're doing, we got job costing we're doing right now on Jobber, and I am starting to wonder if you're making more profit on the small jobs than you are the bigger jobs. You know what I mean? Because the bigger jobs just have so much time and so much more variables. Um, so it's, like I said, or is it, that 5 mile famous, you know what I mean, kind of thing. Because, man, I tell you, the older I get, every time I put travel into it, no matter what it is, I always go, "This is stupid." You know, this is stupid. You know, like, like, because it never fails. It can be somebody else's fault. It can be my fault. It just I just every time I go, like, I'll run into that where it's like you're there at the job and you go, "This was stupid."
That was me tonight. This is stupid. You've been told all day.
You broke a cone or broke
Yeah.
the drum.
Yeah. They killed that shaft. Man, they killed it.
Well,
It-
what's always the worst part is, you basically took a little shortcut, and now it costs you a lot. Because, that's I've been there, man. I know exactly. It's
well,
like that opener video I've been doing. That thing kicked. I mean, I got a whole swamping big ass day into that thing.
I
That thing
watched.
kicked my ass. I mean, dude, I was just like, this
I
thing
could
will never
tell.
end. I
I
mean,
could tell.
I
I,
just, I'm like, how do we have a J50 half horsepower that's running fine?
man, when that thing started jumping, I was like, oh, I was getting stressed. I was stressed. God. Are you kidding? What? Oh,
Yeah, because now I'm like now I feel like a complete idiot because I'm just like, well, what the hell? And come to find out, a little spoiler, I think I still got video footage of it, so that'll be part of it too. I hope. The worst part was I actually got that opener running, and I, sometimes I have a hard time with these openers. Sometimes they don't have like removable remote cards or whatever we call it, or the receivers. So I go back the one day to program the remotes, and of course, the day I asked them, I said, "Hey, I said, do you guys got remotes that are programmed?" "Oh yeah, yeah, we got one in our switcher truck, and there's one that's one more, blah blah." "Okay, well, can you have them both here tomorrow? Because whatever." And yeah, yeah, we'll do that. Next day comes, I show up. We couldn't find the second one, so now I'm waiting for the. "Do you have one?" "Well, no, I got a little pickup truck. I ain't got one with me. I mean, what the hell do I do now?" You know what I mean? Like, I go get one. Anywho, the guy goes, "I think I want to program it to my pickup truck because this is my bay and blah blah." And I think he's kind of semi the owner. I'm like, okay. I'm like, God, I really do not want to program this to a pickup truck. I just hate doing
oh,
that because they never, link up, or they're more delayed or just whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll hook it up, whatever, we'll figure it out. So, anyways, we couldn't get it to link. I was being a dumb dumb. I haven't done a commercial in a while because you gotta, we got it to program to this home link. And I'm like, well, maybe the signal's not going through the building. I was like, why don't you bring the truck inside the bay and then we can communicate? And I was like, oh, I got to get up on the lift or get up there and hit the learn button. I'm just like, all these freaking steps, because if there was a receiver, the old multi-code receiver, or even like the Power Master's got a block you take out, and that's already got them programmed. And like,
mm,
thinking Lift Master's got them in the stupid board. I thought, since we switched this out, so I'm like, this is caught and whatever. So I get him finally. He's working right. Well, he's stopping the door midway as he's programming right, and all of a sudden I hear it fire up, and I can hear it in that building because everything echoes in that building. I hear the chunk chunk chunk. I went, oh fudge. I went, I know exactly what that was. That was the chain jumping. And he kind of looked at me, and I said, you broke it. He kind of gives me the remote back. Ain't mine now. He says, I'm like,
mm.
oh my gosh. Now I got to go back up there. So now I'm messing with his door, and I'm like, what the hell's going on with this thing? And come to find out, the door, all four springs, I had to put one full turn on each spring. That's how heavy the door was. So it just took more time and more time. And then I went through everything and oiled everything. And whoever installed the door originally did not do, they went through it very fast. So I went through, I must have put in probably at least 20 screws that it's like they did the struts, but they missed spots. And so I
Oh,
went through and I screwed, like the strut was just hanging on one side, not even connected. Um, just a lot of corners cut. And so yeah,
ever.
it was a nightmare. It just turned into, it was just like, how you get one of those jobs, you just go, this son of a biscuit will never end. Like, I just like everywhere you turn, you're like, now I gotta oil the door.
Yeah,
Now I gotta put screws in the door. Oh, it's got
tonight.
grease zerks up there.
Now I gotta take the bearing plates off.
Yeah, it was just, yeah. I mean, everything just, it kept adding up and adding up, and I think in a long, I think honestly, I think it was kind of misdiagnosed by one of the guys here. I think if honestly we would have put spring tension on it, I think it would have made it okay because you know how it is though. You get so many hands in the cookie jar.
Mm.
The lift master's telling them, because that made sense. I just got done editing the last part of the video today, and the guy mentioned in the video running the loader or whatever. He said something. He goes, "Well, he goes, will the door stay up?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, it should. I hope it does. Because it's got a brake on it. So obviously, what I didn't know that what was going on. I just know I heard it needed a bigger opener, but the door must have been drifting when it was open. Now,
Oh,
the only thing I never knew is I just assumed when I was first working on it that the door was probably heavy in a certain spot, but a rocket somewhere else. So we just had to compensate with a better opener. Um, and nope, it just everything. But like I said, I had that chain so tight with the strap I had on it. like a banjo, man. And I think there was a couple things. I think for one, I had Caleb tighten everything. I don't think he cranked stuff down as tight as I would have tightened. So I think some things came a little bit loose on that. I literally actually at the very end, when I heard that chain pop when we were doing the remotes, um, I put the spring tension on, and then I went through the spreader bars. I drilled a self tapper, a big one, through each spreader bar, so the spreader bar couldn't even compress anymore. Because they got the slots.
Mm.
So I did everything I could. I threw everything at it I could to get this thing, and that's the situation where I'm always like, golly, man, if we could do direct couple, I'm all about it. Like, please, and it wouldn't be fun to do it because power is already there and they already had pipes in the way and stuff. But oh man, what a
Yeah.
job.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I could tell you were. Oh, when I seen that jump, though, boy,
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
glad him and not me.
Well, I think in this last part, it'll probably come out. What is it, Tuesday? I ended up running the opener by itself because I thought I damaged the opener because the way things were just sounding, ka-chunking, and I went, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "I just destroyed this opener right out of the gate." I mean, it could have been bad right out of the box. I didn't run it, and so I ended up disconnecting the chain and hit the button. And it was running fine, but yeah, I didn't know where I was at. I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, this is not supposed to take this long. This is
Yeah.
like this is embarrassing. Like, come on, man. Uh, what's Rich got here? Rich has got you come back with 20 plus 24 wasting my time, he says. 20 sounds pretty cheap. Is that for that $20? We need the 405 price.
Yeah.
What's Tanner got? He says, "Oh yeah." He says, "No bad music does not fly in my jobs." He says, "Tactile music will get you sent home or tried." He says, "They can use their headphones." Ah,
I know that.
yeah, I don't mind if they ever play like country and stuff like that. Obviously, like don't do the hard rock and stuff or rap or anything. But the one thing I've noticed, I just my opinion, I don't like the headphones. I don't like when I rather my guys listen to a radio if it's country, something good. I don't care if it's classical music or whatever, but just modest, And I don't even really care. We got a rock band around here that's pretty. It's old, 70s and 80s rock. I don't even. As long as you're being courteous about it, you're not blaring it.
Yeah.
And they're starting to rip off their sleeves of their shirt and holding a beer. You know what I mean? Then whoa, time out, man. You can't be doing that crap. But the headphones, I can't communicate with the people. That's what drives. I'll be sitting there like, hey, hey, they'll be walking away. And I'm like, geez, it's like I want to take a wrench and throw it at the back of
Yeah.
their head. Like, why you're going out to the truck? Grab my, whatever, man. Grab my hammer. It's like, yeah, So that's the only thing that does drive me nuts about some of it. Let's
Oh, shoot. Oh,
see here. What's he got?
hey, on the that gate, that
Yeah,
C24 or whatever it was,
yeah.
figured out that's an AC motor or DC motor
Oh,
because there's a 3000, like a SL 3000 or something,
yeah.
AC motor. Because
Oh,
that guy, every time I go there, he's, man, that thing's a piece of junk. We paid $4,000 for that. I'm like, yeah, that's what they run.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty much. I mean, shoot, that's probably even kind of cheap because I mean, probably about 5 years ago at least. I mean, I used to always do generically with customers. I always tell them it's 5,000 for the gate operator, and I tell them it's $5,000 for the gate
Mm,
because like those nylon rollers went up dramatically. The man, they've gone up a lot from our vendor. I mean, we used to pay like $160. Now they're like 340 a pop.
wow.
So now I'm more like it's like, you know, probably 8,000 for a gate operator, and it's probably 8,000 for a gate. You know what I mean? Because there's for ours, what I've noticed is if you want to build them the way we build them, there's a lot of accessories like that opener we got out here. This HSLG doesn't come with a 3 button in it. Well, that's an inconvenience because if you got to take off the cover for the customer, and then there's buttons in there that you can break or they'll fling off on you. So I mount a 3 button in there, so that way, hopefully on a Friday at 5 o'clock, if the customer calls me and says I got a problem, I go okay, go inside, hit the button. What's it doing? It's beeping. Other thing we have problems with is snow, so we use these things that protect the photo eyes. Well, those metal boxes that we get, they're like 400 and some change our cost. So yeah, that adds up to a lot. But the thing is everyone I've installed, I've never had a callback, maybe except for a really, really weird frost that seeps in there and gets on them. But
Mm,
I never get no callbacks. But if I do them with the other way with just a little cover on them, oh, accessories, we always get calls on accessories. The gate's not closing.
mm.
Well, it's going to be the edge or it's going to be the photo eye. And so it's just, there's certain things we do now that, darn near add probably $1,000 to $2,000 on top of the cost of because to keep them from failing.
Mhm.
Gate operators are very, I always kind of look at it this way, like they better be close by because they are more fidgety than garage doors. You know what I mean? Garage doors kind of in its own little world, a little shelter, out of the weather. Gate operators, if you don't shovel them out, they can get resistance. Because the thing is now is all the UL 325 stuff is making them less reliable. They're
Mm.
having more issues, so it's kind of but did you when you talk to the vendor or whoever, did they tell you which ones are faster or what? I couldn't find any information.
I didn't. What I did, I was just looking through the service spring
You
one,
know,
and I looked at it and looked at all the stats on it, and I was like, "Oh, no wonder it's a DC motor." He goes, "Man, it's so slow." And because I was looking like, they handle up to so many feet of a gate,
uh,
and
right.
weight. And I thought, well, maybe we can get a heavier one. And I was looking, and sure enough, right away the motor. I thought, oh, that's probably going to change it right there, speed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much, I honestly, I don't know on an AC to a DC because like in these HSLGs, we have one here at the shop, a used one that got banged up. That's actually got a Hitachi, it's a variable speed gate operator. And so we literally have a dial in it, but it's like a 3 phase. It like inverts it into something. I don't even know exactly quite how it works. It's kind of complicated, but I can literally turn on a dial on it and I can make that. I mean, these gates can really rock and roll. Like I installed them for a storage unit down the road because I knew a lot of activity there. So but I've kind of steered away because I did a couple for the road commissions, and one I did them on the same property, two of them, and one of them was humming the whole time, little brain in there, the little
Hmm. Hmm.
Hitachi motor thing, and tech support could not answer it for me. Really, he said it's a voltage issue, and it thinks it needs to go into reset, so it's constantly reset, and I couldn't really get a straight answer. I just kind of went, whatever. It's under warranty. If this thing blows up or overheats, I'll just worry about it then. Because I tried talking to Sparky. We tried checking the voltage. It was like tech support just kind of gave up on me. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just, whatever. I'm over it. You know what I mean? I spent days on it. And so I just said, well, when it dies, it dies. And we'll figure it out from there. And some people will listen when it starts, the pocketbooks have to start opening up. Um, so that's why I feel like you got to, because um, I can't say for sure, that AC would be. I would assume it's more powerful in a sense, but it does. It all depends on the gear ratio.
Right.
Uh, you know what I mean. And then you still got to factor in the gate size, the gate weight. Um, but there, for some reason, there is, like garage door openers, they show you the speed. Typically, it'll say cycle time.
Hmm.
But the gate operators, I feel like that's going to have to be a technical question to like LiftMaster tech support, because I don't even know, and I couldn't find nothing that said, would move this many feet, per seconds or minute or whatever. So, but the problem is, like I said, I doubt the guy when you tell him a price tag of 5, 6, 7, 8 grand, he's just gonna maybe
I don't
not. But I
think
mean, I
so.
know,
I
I
don't,
just know you don't
because
think so.
he hits me up every time. He says that thing's so slow. We've fucked with it and fucked with you know. I'm like, and he just keeps giving me work.
Yeah,
Time
yeah,
I go to this place, they're dumping more shit on me. More
yeah,
like, good God. Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I'll be back. And then hell, I was getting in my van. That's when the other guy runs out and says, "Hey, we need to sit down. I've seen your van around town."
Ah,
And I never met the guy. And
right.
what's your name again? And he told me his name. I'm like, I said, I've done work for you before. He thought I knew who you were. So I don't know. But I think they'll spend whatever because that,
Hey, you know, maybe like you said, just give them a price. It's kind of
uh,
a touchy one because like in my brain, if you go linear, I go, oh, go with the variable speed. They won't cry about that because that thing will fly. But the lift masters, I don't know what they really have for options. But the problem is too is since there's already a lift master there, all the accessories, it'd be nice to have another machine that just bolts down in that
yeah,
spot. You hook the wires
that,
basically up, and you know.
yeah,
But I don't know what LiftMaster offers because LiftMaster came out not too long ago. I think they were kind of losing customers in a sense because HSLG always went on poles, and people would need to replace their HSLG linear openers, and they didn't have options. So
mm,
LiftMaster people would just go, well, I got the poles here. I got to go back with a linear. I can't go with LiftMaster. So LiftMaster started coming out with a box that would fit in those poles. I think as a way to kind of go snub linear and say, oh no, we got something that'll fit on those poles now.
mm. Let me see here. Look at my book.
I'll read some of these comments.
Yeah,
Evan's got sup, Evan. What's up, cousin Evan? Let's see here. If you charge 4 or 5 on small jobs, you're definitely making money. Oh man, you may have to charge more depending on what it is. You got to mark up the product. You got to charge your labor.
yeah. Tonight I
Oh,
did
what
350. It
was
was
it? 350?
that was my labor,
Oh, gotcha.
and then I did 93 in parts and
There you
shit,
go.
3 times the parts.
What was uh, what was the reason for the failure?
Well, the cable was off when I got there. It was a pretty simple job. I mean, I was the one that made it last forever.
Did they yeah? Did they say like did they leave something in or just anything that clued you off to, the track wasn't off or something, and then when the door was
Well,
up, it was slacking or
they had a number two hinge that was completely broke in half.
oh, that's a
And
bad
then,
one.
and then on the opposite side, the top roller, the actual roller, all it was a stem that was in there. The roller was sitting outside of the track.
Oh, oh,
So I could have hung up,
yeah,
it was,
yeah,
but that roller, I think, probably caught. And
yeah. You got some variables there.
yeah,
Now, did you just change the one roller, or did you change them all?
I just changed one.
Change one.
Yeah, I looked at them, and yeah,
They're
I'm
good.
not, I'm not out to upsell you. You know,
Oh no,
I
no.
don't. I'm, and plus I was cold. I wanted to get home. I'm hungry,
I
cold.
get yeah.
I was literally just heading in the house when the phone rang. I was like,
Dang.
"Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, it's just funny. Sometimes, not always, but I do think sometimes there is a little bit of um, they kind of correspond. But when you do springs, because I think aren't rollers technically rated for about 10,000 cycles too? Isn't that kind of?
I don't know.
I feel like I seen that somewhere, and I've just kind of noticed before where I thought, if I had, it's one of those things. If I had more time and I knew I had them on my truck, I knew the cost I wanted to charge and everything, I probably would do it. Where it's like if I was so focused on residential, and not to, it's just sometimes how you get those ones that got like the little stem, or it's not the little stem, but like you can just tell the hole smaller for the bearing.
Oh,
Those
the
ones
narrow gauge.
always, what are they?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I
But
don't do.
yeah, those always go bad,
Yeah,
and you always have 2 or 3, and it's like, yeah, man, if I'm doing 2 or 3, it's like I should just wipe all these out, you
yeah.
know. See here. If you charge, what's Evan Scott? Never assume it makes an ass out. Yeah, makes an ass out of you and me. Yeah, that's the truth, man. That's what my wife tells me all the time. Eric's in the house. What's up, Freeze? Still using that fan. It's working great. Howdy, folks. Dun, dun. Eric, what do you got on the what's on the radar? Do you know what's on your schedule for this week? Tanner, what's Tanner guy? Says, oh man, we all were wear headphones that just need to play them at reasonable volume. They double as hearing protection. After everyone
Uh,
gets the hang of or most of us don't even need to talk to each other. Nice, nice. Those headphones are crazy, especially if you got like the Apple ones. Those things are like military grade, dude. I can't believe how much they drown out. It's scary.
yeah. They are.
But most of our time, we just use them on commercial jobs to help with echo, a lot of noises. Yeah, it's not bad. If we work on the same job, Mexicans are blaring their shit. Oh yeah. Change here soon. He says, nice, nice. Da-da-da-da. Tanner, that's when you know you have a good crew when you don't need to communicate each other. Everyone knows their job. Yeah, it's like the Amish, man. They're just all the Amish work like that, man. They just you watch those guys and it's like, holy cow,
Yeah.
man. Well-oiled machine. Duh. What's Rich guy? It says, but you have to like the Mexicans, hot plates, he says, and good lunches. Oh yeah. But afterwards, man, the bathroom. Whew, better have Porter John handy.
Yeah.
It says, I don't know much about gate ops. He says, but anything with DC motor is just a red flag. The AC motors just work and they don't do anything stupid. Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree.
Well, this one here, it looks like this 3000. It 500 pounds more in weight than the one they've got. Um, Same length and fence. So
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, though. It just, to me, it's kind of like, at least with the linears, the HSLGs, like, like the weight means nothing. You know what I mean? Because that means it's more torquey and
oh
it's not even, um, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just don't know. I just
yeah,
don't know.
I know. I need to call them.
Yeah, I feel like you got to call tech support and ask them
Hmm.
what they would say because you got to figure out what's that one's running for speed wise. Because I know for me, that is way out of my wheelhouse to even mess with a gate operator to try to change the speed, like put a bigger gear or something on it. That's like the homeowner. The homeowner can do that crap. That's not me because the problem is a lot of those things have sensitivity now in them, and so if they're jolting or something, they'll shut down.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean,
I,
that's kind of the problem.
I for you. What about a roll-up door, like a 9x7? Can you? I want to put the roll-up door on the outside,
Yeah.
but if I do that, then the lock controls on the inside,
Uh,
on the outside.
are you doing actually rolling steel, or are you doing a storage unit or?
Storage unit.
Ooh.
You know about that? Flip that curtain on that frame.
I mean, I know rolling steel, you got a lot of options, but I don't know about storage units so much. I know you can, like for like Wayne Dalton stuff, they make hoods and all that for the outside, and they'll make
Hmm.
it for like an operator and everything. But the storage unit doors, I never done one. I could say on the outside. You know what I mean? Because that one would have to be. I tell you what, even if you start entertaining it, make sure you get a confirmation and it's all spelled out because
Well, I'm doing it for myself, and
oh, oh.
actually inside my building, but it's on
Oh,
the outside of the room it's going to be in.
gotcha.
So it's not really going to be outside per se. It's just going to be outside of the wall. I just
Sure.
do it in reverse.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
didn't know if I'd have to like totally, how they come rolled up and then
Yeah.
unwind it, probably unscrew it or pop rivet it from whatever it's mounted to, flip it over,
Mm,
remount it. I didn't know.
that's a good question. You thinking like the handle?
Yeah, that handle. I don't
Mm,
even if I could just take the handle off and flop it. I don't.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of when it rolls up, as long as it don't interfere or fight something. That would be the only,
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure you could do it as long as you could live with I know there's gotta be some options, you know. Like
yeah,
I'm just trying to think, even if you did, it's too bad if you even did something on the bottom plate with just some kind of slide. Um, on the outside, to somehow secure
mm,
it if you wanted to. It'd suck. You have to bend over, but at least if you had an option where you go, I can't move that slide lock because it'll be protruding a certain way or something.
yeah.
I wouldn't think so because normally they're kind of bulky anyways, and they got to get sucked up in itself
Right,
somehow.
right.
So, think that'd be a problem? That's a good question. That is a good question.
Yeah, I ran out of time today. I was gonna tear one apart and see what.
Oh, that's right, because you got a slew of them, right?
Uh-huh.
You got how many? You got 14,
I got 11
11? Yeah, yeah.
over the storage, the shipping container. Shit, that fucker. That thing's full.
Oh,
I
really?
barely walk around in that thing now. It's summer. Get here. I need summer so I can.
Oh,
It's cold.
yeah, we got overloaded. Like I said, with this last week, everything really stacked up. You know what I mean? It just can't move. You're messing with snow. You're dealing with vehicles. You're dealing with breakdowns and just everything frozen. So I mean, it's not good. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping they're talking February. Maybe we're gonna get warmer than normal. So I'm like, let's do it. Let's
I'll take.
let's melt some of this crap off.
I'm ready.
Hell yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, like you said, you can play around with it. That storage. What about one of those? I've been wanting to try one. I thought I was going to have a customer that was going to do it. I forget the name of it. It's a little opener, but they're made for storage unit doors.
Yeah, I've
And
got. I did
oh,
a
you got
video. Yeah, it's
is it?
like Venor or
Yeah.
Venor. Yeah, I did a video on one, but the only bad see those are made for the storage unit door that see how it is. It's like say like a perforated steel comes out and then you U-bolt the shaft to the
Oh,
that's what those operators are made for. The storage unit ones you have that plate,
sure.
everything's in here and it turns well the operator's supposed to mount on the outside. It don't work. I seen a guy where he welded a piece on and it
Right.
made it work, but
Yeah.
that's a load
Yeah.
of crap.
So did you make it? Did you get it to work on yours or no?
No, not yet. I want to. I'll I'll figure something out.
That sucks. That really sucks. I seen that thing advertised. I thought, oh my gosh. I went, how many people I get that ask me, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
we don't do it.
yeah. It and they're like $130.
Yeah, cheap.
Yeah, super cheap. Come with two remotes, and they do work. The guy that hooked his up, it worked great. Um,
Huh.
it's just that it has to be a certain kind. The shaft actually has to lay across, and it has to be U bolted to the bracket.
Hmm.
The mounting bracket.
Yep.
U bolted to it. If the shaft don't hang past that mounting bracket, then you're kind of
What gets me, the only thing I got in my question is if it's U bolted and clamped down, what is out there to turn?
well. You got it. That's where you have you have the mounting brackets here, and then you bolt your shaft on, and then your operator sits in here. To
Oh,
the doors here though,
gotcha.
where the one I have gear where it goes click 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 click, and you
Yeah,
can't put the operator there because that big gear.
sure, Sure.
It needs to sit there and go inside like a
Oh.
little wheel that has holes in it. If you look
Oh.
at
Oh.
it, has teeth that go in, three prongs that go in.
Oh.
That
Okay.
turns.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Turns the barrel.
Yep. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes
But boy, it works slicker than shit. I watched the guy do his once he modified it. It
hmm.
did. It worked wonderful.
I wonder if anybody knows what manufacturer garage door you got to go with to get
Yeah.
that, because I don't
Not the one I got.
know, and I can't think. I don't think I've ever done one of the U bolts. It's all been like you said, the
Yeah.
plates and
Yeah. The
so,
one I have on, I put one on my shed. I was going to put, that's where I was going to put that opener and it wouldn't work. That discovered, oh, you got to have where the whole thing sits on that U bolt.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that makes sense. 'Cause I had somebody reach out to me and they were like, "Hey, would you want to do, try to make this work?" And I kind of was like, No." They were talking more or less making a trolley on the wall with a J arm, and my brain went to I went, if you can eat up at least a foot, I said it might be two. I was just trying to give them some kind of, I said where the door doesn't come up that high. It's like, I don't know what you're parking in there, like a Hot Wheels or something. I said,
mhm,
we could probably do something like that. But I said, I can't with the headroom. I said, I can't get a J bar or anything to make it go high enough, to bring your
mhm,
door all the way up. So I just kind of slowly declined, because I sent them that video and a picture of that. They're like, yeah, but we have to, put a shaft or something on. And I was like, and he acted like he just didn't want to spend any money. And I just was like, yeah, like if you want to do that kind of opener, maybe we can just get a shaft welded or figure out something for rotation. But I'm not doing a trolley with no headroom and stuff. And
mhm.
I'm not going to be putting all this time in there and go, well, there you go. And he goes, it's down a foot and 6 inches. Does it go up any higher? Nope. Well, this ain't going to work. Oh, great. Well, I just spent a day here and a day and a half screwing with this thing and
Yeah.
nothing I can do. So I said, no, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
We've had them ordered. We've ordered them before. So this is just kind of a warning to your viewers, right? So if you ever deal with a storage unit, because there's a storage unit door and then there's rolling steel. A storage unit door, anytime you try to operate it, just walk away. Don't even do it. I even ordered one from the manufacturer, ordered it that way with their opener that they recommended, and it still worked like garbage. I mean, it was just everybody was like so confused how to make it work and the chain, the setup, and the bracket. It was like it just looked like they threw stuff in a box. And we're like, here you go, good luck. We don't know what we're doing, and I just never. I did it before. I modified one before years ago where I burned myself on it because I thought I was getting rolling steel, and I actually got a
Mhm,
storage in the door. That's why the price was so cheap. I just was, I was a greenhorn, and that one we modified. And then what happened was with the rolling, which I never thought would happen with a storage unit door. If you try to compress it, normally it's like they groove together like this. Well,
mhm.
as you're doing that, it delaminates it. It'll start ripping itself apart because you're pushing down on the door,
Oh, yeah.
and that constant pounding. When you're dropping it, it starts delaminating where those seams
Yeah.
are.
Separates it. Ugh.
Right, and then now what do you do? Like, how do you fix that? So I mean, I did the best I could at the time. I drilled it. I put pop rivets in it, and I tried to, like break like grind them off so they're somewhat smooth. And when the thing would roll up, it would be all just. It was very janky. It wasn't good. uh, what do we got here? We got a whole bunch of comments here. Let's see what we got. Never assume. Howdy, so man. Tanner. Don't need to communicate. Rich has got, but you Mexicans don't like those rings. They're stupid. Eric said. I said I don't know about the roll ups. I just try to go with rolling steel. Yeah, but rolling steel is like seems like it's triple in the price. You know what I mean? So but it's got all the right if you order it the right way. Then rolling steel you got to watch because then it gets into like, are we doing fire rated? Are we going to have an operator? What size the operator going to be on? What voltage? I still to this day don't know because In my video about that opener, I got a lot of people that commented and said that they said you really should go with a gearhead. And I'm like, I'm not discounting I'm not, dissing the gearhead, but the problem I have is that any gearhead I've ever done, I don't know if I'm ordering them wrong, but they never have slots in the back. They're all just holes, like you bolt them to a plate. There's I don't know if I'm just ordering them wrong or if you can order them
Hmm.
that they have slots in them. But when you need to tighten up your chain and you need to move the opener up or down, uh,
Yeah.
it's just holes. So I mean, that's a real bear.
Heck yeah.
See here. Don't know something Eric's got. I don't know. Kevin says storage unit operators come with an adapter can be used on a live or dead shaft application.
I'll have to check that out. I seen
Yeah.
that reading that.
What's Eric got? He says I talked to someone who built a pole barn with like 12-foot tall roll up. He says, but he installed one of those roll up ops, but it wouldn't work on tall doors. I think he said the limits were maxed out. Yeah, probably makes sense. Probably makes sense. They gave us
Mhm.
it was basically like the was the 8300 Liftmaster, but it was a different model that they gave us for that roll or for that storage unit. And of course, you know how it was. It's like one of those guys that has like how do you describe this guy? He had a gate, and you go back, and he just kind of had like his own puppies, and just I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. If he said he lived with his mom, he just was a like he had this barn that was sweet. Like it was like that was like their little like they had a stage and stuff, and his buddies would come over and they do the bands and stuff. But it was like he's trying to save a nickel, right? So that's why he went with this. But now that he's went with us on this, he's got the what is it the champagne taste, on a beer budget,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and before we took this job, my sales guy at the time, I'm like, you have to do your due diligence. Make sure it's all ordered from the manufacturer because when we have a problem, I want to pick up the phone and say, "Hello, manufacturer. This is what you sent me. Yes, you sent me all of this: the opener, the track, the springs, the rails, the door, everything, the seal. I don't care, everything, the wall button." And they did, and it was still garbage. I mean, I remember he ended up calling me to come out, and he was pretty good at what he did. And he called me. He's like, "Dude, like I'm calling a mayday," and it's like I got to go through this gate. I got to go back a mile in the woods. It seems like I got to go to like this place where I'm like, "Where am I?" It's like not even. It's just kind of cool, but not cool. Like I'm like, this feels a little weird. Like if they said they're like housing little children in the basement, I'd believe them or something. And I go there and it just wouldn't work. I'm like, we'll never, ever, ever do this again. I'm never putting an opener on a rolling steel ever again unless it's all customer provided. And I am just going to get paid with a 6 pack of pop or beer, and that's it. Like, you're not scratching me a check. Like, I will help you, and then I walk away. You lost my phone number. Never call me.
Shoot.
So, unless they come out with something better in the future. Um, says we got 2 roll up to build, pull barn. Yeah, so 12. So we read that. How long should we go, Mr. Tony? Should we go to about 11:30, 11:35, 40?
Sounds good.
You know, yeah.
Sleep.
You got youngster working tomorrow, or you got tomorrow kind of laid off there?
No, the new guy, uh, he hadn't started yet.
Oh no, what's any good or bad, or just kind of it's just time
I'm
is not right yet.
real sure. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
well, he kind of jumped the gun and told
Oh,
me he would start.
oh,
Didn't talk with his wife.
oh.
He's a newlywed.
Sure. Oh yeah,
Forgot a wife,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and you know,
yeah. Yep, yep, yep,
so
yep. You gotta. You
they
know,
were they were buying a home. So now I don't know what's happening. So we're just kind of chilling. He's part
Sure.
till
Cool.
notice.
Yeah. Well, like I said, see if like I said, if you can use them, a little bit, if you want us to do some stuff after hours or on the weekend too, you can always good
Yeah.
way to start kind of getting them, you know, trained in, on some stuff. And man, if you're newlywed and you got bills to pay, so you're gonna
Yeah.
want a little extra cash here and there, and make some uh, make some money because that stuff is very expensive out there and it ain't going down.
Oh, I know it. I know it. Yeah.
It's expensive.
What's
What's Tanner got here? This is Zach. When everyone can jam to their own tunes. He says, I'm a loser listening to podcasts. He says, LOL. He says, but I'm not picking up picking out the Mexicans because I know I love most of them. He says, just
yeah. Oh, for sure.
jobs around this
Oh, we
area.
do.
Do
Yeah.
you? No, I mean, I don't think no. I mean, Tanner's doing big stuff, so I our big builders. Uh-uh. No, no, I don't think. Gosh, I don't think I've ever seen one, honestly. I mean, maybe on a sub here and there or something for whatever, but nothing, nothing for the builders. They don't like the cold. Maybe they don't like the cold. Best food. He says Eric's got. If any of you pull out any old Sears, let me know. He said looking for parts. I mean, I never seen one of those red machines. If that's what you're looking for, Eric, that one was crazy. That red, well, burgundy or whatever color it was. I can't say I've ever seen one of those.
Yeah, that red one I hadn't seen that one. Do you
What do you
need that?
got? You got anything in the pipeline for tomorrow?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got it's a high lift, just a residential of all things.
Oh,
Lift door. It's got the old style was it like 3900 or whatever, the jack shaft, one of the first ones with the split collar on it. Yeah. So I'm doing a spring job on that. And then this week I have two doors I got to put in. I haven't really scheduled them. Um, what else? And I got to go back to that construction company, and they got a bunch of work. Can you put multiple wall buttons on a gate opener?
a gate operator. Like you mean just have three buttons in one area and another three button?
Yeah, they have like an open close stop. They have one in the office and they have it already wired. Then they said, just tie into this wire and put one down here.
Man, if it's just a standard three button, I would assume so. But like I said, I really don't know. See, like that's the problem with LiftMaster. They scare me because they like to do these weird I can't say the word proprietary things. Like that's why like LiftMaster gate operators, like you
Mm,
really got to stick with all their products. Where Lanier, it's if it's got 24 volts, it's game on. You know what I mean? Like you can pretty much hook up anything to it, and they don't have no weird like. The only thing they got now is resistors. Stuff's got to have 10K for safety, but the rest of it's all just it don't care what kind of keypad I put on it, it works. You know what I mean? And I think the gates are
right. Yeah.
you know
Oh, yeah.
you know what I
Oh,
mean? You know what I mean?
oh
Like
yeah.
you know, I mean to me it's like depending where it's going to, it's like, well, would it reach for a radio? So if you did a wall with a, the batteries in it or something. But those always kind of suck over time because you gotta, they quit working. They got an employee or secretary that's sitting there and going, "It's not working." Well, it's been 2 years since you changed the battery. Well, I know I had batteries, and you know,
Yeah.
I mean, so I really try to do everything wired, when I can, because I don't like callbacks. You know what I mean? I don't like people, and I gotta sit there and scratch my head for 10 minutes. What? Where? Oh, actually, you know what? I think that one's battery powered. Or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
See what Tanner's got here. It says just quoted my
Sell them a
third.
remote. No, no, they're already
Yeah, just sell
complete.
remote. Yeah, there you go. Tanner's got says just quoted third. What is this? Corporative? Is it elevator job? Three 24 by 18s and four 18 by 8s, and fertilizer buildings are cake after doing already building are identical, so pretty much same, even down to
Nice. I'm gonna snap that. Kevin, hang on. How do I take a picture? Yeah, there we go.
Kevin's got, yes, three buttons run open and close parallel circuits, and common circuits in series would be able to use multiple three buttons. Yeah, I would assume,
So
you
he
know
said I can run it in series. So I'd have to go to the one wall button and go to the next wall button. Is that-
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, like, you have to trying to think of that, because you got to keep your close or your stop. I mean, your stop's got to stay in a loop, but you're open. Yeah, you'd have to go, like, the open would have to be on its, like, own in my head, you know, because if you push open on another one, it's not making a circuit. So that's why typically, like, for me, I mean, I know it's probably not an option for this one. I always try to run separate wires to
Yeah,
everything, because I'm always like, I don't like splices. I like to be able to go, this is this one, this is this one,
yeah,
and then but you could do it. You should be able to do it from wall button. Um, yeah, you just got to do a little bit of, like, splicing in the box of it where the three button is to the next
uh
one.
huh,
It's doable, but it's just one of those things. I would probably that'd be the perfect time to call LiftMaster. Say, hey, what's the gate operator that goes faster? And also,
yeah,
by the way, I am able to do it. They go, oh yeah, just run it in series or whatever. Shoot, that you'll figure out. That's no problem. But it's just if they go, oh no, because it's got to, it's whatever. Because the thing is, the three buttons, they don't have, like, circuit boards on them, so I'm sure they're fine. But like I said, LiftMaster just makes me nervous that they, especially with this being somewhat, is it the newer one, right? That you said's
yeah.
going slow. So I just, I just never, like I said, now.
Right.
Where there's like 10 foot above the door, and you got to run. Yeah, yeah, that shit down. I agree. I'm always a big believer. I know it's not going to happen in my lifetime, but I'm always a big believer when I have customers that are like, when I get, you can tell when you get those weird, they're building something, and I go, look, I go, you're asking me a lot of questions. I can tell you're really concerned. I can tell you the best way we need to do this. And I go, we need to build the house, or we need to build the barn. And after it's built, I come in and I'll measure everything, and we'll order the door to what you got there, what's going to fit. And I know, I said, I know you're going to be waiting another 3 to 4 weeks, and it sucks. there, and then you put drywall, 5/8 drywall. Like, where are we gonna land? You know what I mean? And I sure as heck would hate to order this, and we come to show up, and it's like, oh, you guys decided to drop it a foot. You know, so things changed a little bit here. Run angle extra. He says at this point, the liftmaster name is a red flag. Yeah, it's like I said, you're always trying to find the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry basket. That's how it feels. Well, should we start getting out of here, Mr. Tony?
I think so. I'm about ready to.
Pass out,
Yeah,
just see it keel over, start snoring, and drool.
yeah.
Start drooling.
You just have to wake me up. Wake me up when we're done.
Right. Well, I'm glad I got we got the story on the drum. I'm glad we got that out of the way because I didn't know what the winding bar when it fell.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel your pain. I feel your pain, man. Like I said, I hope you guys, you feel my pain when that next video comes out for the opener because
Oh yeah.
uh, I didn't say much, but I was in not physically pain, but mental pain.
Oh yeah. Sitting right here when that thing jumped, I was like, oh, instant.
I can't tell you either. Like in person, the whole opener, I'm like, the whole building's brick. So I'm like, how in the hell did this thing flex? Like, what is going on here? And the thing was, I went off the original install, the studs and everything that were there, but man, that thing moved. I mean, it was jumping hard, and I was just going, holy moly! I don't know if it was in that second one I did or whatever, but that's why I was sitting there going, I'm like, is there a side lock on? And all I kept thinking is like, did we put a side lock on, or like, did
Yeah.
somebody shove it for safety or something? Like, dude, did we put vice grips down there? Like, what the hell's going on? Like,
Oh yeah.
uh, Kevin's guy, he says you might need this. He says all opens tied together. He says all closed together. Comments needs to be
Um,
screenshot of that. Start open eyes the buttons back corner like a circuit. Tanner's got night, everyone. Have a good week. He says we have spring weather this week, so looking
oh
forward to it. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
We're in the
That's
30s. I'll take.
I I I was actually kind of geez, I don't think I have to wear my
Mine off for a long time.
yeah, right. All right, Tony, I'll let you say your
Uh,
goodbyes and I'll get out of their
hey,
hair too.
I want to say thanks for everybody hitting the like button. We got 7
Oh yeah.
watchers, 7 likes. Just wanted to say, thank you very much. And Papa Tony out. Go ahead, Dave. Say your little.
All right. Yep. Uncle Dave is heading out as well. It's time to get some sleep, get the week started, and hope you guys have a good week. We'll see you later. Thanks for being here. And as always, remember to keep your fingers because, like I said, they don't grow back.
All right.
We'll see you guys later.
Have a safe one.
See
Where
you, Tony.
see you, Dave. Papa Tony out. See you, Tanner. See, we got 30, mid 50s. Yeah. Wow. See you guys.
Over.